Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Martine Brisson. And what I want to talk to you about is about a conversation that happened yesterday. I got my haircut, and the lady said something very interesting. And I thought, maybe I should talk about that today. And what she was saying, she was surprised that during the lockdown, there was lots of people that um but not cabin fever, but that people were very unhappy with their partner during the lockdown, like to be 24 hours a day with their partner was very stressful. And during the normal life, now they go up to off to work and then come back and have fun, now doing different activities on the weekends. But to be 24 hours a day with the same person apparently brought lots of stress, and they were very, very unhappy with their partner. And she was reflecting on that. She says, well, no, if you choose to live with that person, no, there shouldn't be a problem to be knocked down with that person. And what I explained to her, and I'm going to tell you too, is that usually it's not that they're really on, but that's my take on it, right? Um, they're really unhappy because of the lockdown. Now they feel, maybe especially more for the extroverted crowd. Now they like to go out and have interaction with people, or they like to go to the theater, the movies, or whatever, right? And all of a sudden, we're in lockdown, and here we even had the curfews. And that brought some stress. Maybe stress also about work, no, to work from home with the kids, with their homeschooling, or will they have, maybe some didn't lose their job, and that brought some financial stress and stuff like that. So people felt a lot of stress. And we kind of have a to look to for scapegoat for our stress. What makes, no, I feel stress, what makes me feel this way, and this guy or this girl is there, and well, that must be his fault. Now he's breathing wrong, or she's leaving, I don't know, cookie crumbs all over the place, whatever, right? And then you blame the other person for your stress feeling. And all you're thinking is that person makes me unhappy. And that's where the relation goes down the drain. The thing is, the way of feeling has more than likely nothing to do with the spouse. You have all the stress of coping, maybe with the kids and work or lack thereof, and stuff like that, and you attribute it to the other person. And now you'll have this, again, famous goggles for famous lenses, and you have these lenses, and now you see the other person through that lens, and the relationship goes down the drain very quickly at that time. And there's also, statistically, there's more domestic violence when there's financial stress, or any kind of stress, really. And again, it's a bit the same phenomenon. I was reading, there's a study that was done with rats. Yeah, it was with rats. So they were taking a rat, and they were stressing the rat out. I don't remember what they did to the I think it was little electroshocks. And then when they were putting the rat back in the cage with another rat, that rat will go and attack the other rat that was in the cage, just minding its own little business. And all of a sudden, it got attacked. And because the rat that was stressed needed an outlet for the stress. And there was another rat there. So what did it go? It go and attacked the rat that was just minding its own business. And then they put other things in the rat cage, maybe a wheel or fun things for rats, whatever fun things are. So they were stressing the rat. And now when they put the rat back in the cage, instead of attacking the rat that was making his own business, well, they had other outlet to let that stress out. Chewing on something or that famous wheel or whatever they did. And then they could let out the stress that way. And no, we forget sometimes that us human beings were also mammifer, and we react a bit the same way. Somebody feels the stress, they need a scapegoat. And unfortunately, the scapegoat will be the spouse. And that's where they let all that anger feeling, pent up anxiety feeling towards another person. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that is right and you have to take it just because it's stress, but you're just explaining what's happening. And what that means is not to take it personally. If something like that happens to you, you be on the other hand, the receiving hand. You're not to blame for the other person's low mood. They're in charge of their home life, and you cannot in any case be responsible of their low moods. And the other person can benefit in learning where the experiences is coming from. Because rats, we cannot explain to them, oh yes, you feel stressed and no, don't attack the other rat. But with a human being can see, because when we're angry, when we feel stressed, when we're in a low mood, we don't see life. We don't see reality. Well, nobody lives in reality, but we see it through that lenses. We feel bad. We have all this thinking, oh, where money is going to come from, what's going to happen, and are we going to lose a house? We'll have to move. How are we going to feed the kids? And all those kind of things, and builds up and builds up and builds up. And you feel that tension, right? But that tension doesn't mean anything, in the sense that that tension is all created, not because the lack of money. It's all the thinking you have about that money. Because when we are in that low mood and in that anxious mood, we cannot see clearly. We cannot see clearly. Our glasses are muddy, or we don't see clearly. We're just all like that, and we can see it. All the decisions are going to be shitty decision. And then, like I said, you look at the other person and then you blame that other person. But if you take the time to go back to the now, let the dust settle. You'll see clearly. You'll see clearly then. And then it will be easier to make informed decision. Much easier to make informed decision at that time. So blaming somebody else for your feeling is not going to work. It cannot be the other person's, it cannot be the other person, right? Yeah, maybe that other person has an annoying habit, but it's not the annoying habit. They just all are thinking about the annoying habit. Then we focus now, because when we're stressed and we're not happy, we put more focus into that, and we forget all the other good stuff. It's like a tunnel vision. All we see is, oh, it's that. And I think it's good to remember that you cannot be responsible for somebody else's emotions. You cannot be responsible for somebody else's feelings. It belongs to them. 100%. Don't tell them when they're angry, because that's not going to help. But you know that you cannot be. And that doesn't mean to stay in an unsafe situation. Now, you might realize that there is the low mood, but you still need to be safe. And same thing for you. When you play the blame game, it cannot be about the other person. It's your own low mood, the lenses through which you look at things, trying to find a scapegoat to how you're feeling. It cannot be the other person's. It cannot be the other person at all. So the other person cannot be responsible for your own happiness. Never. It's like, I don't know if it's a good analogy, but that's the one that came to mind. If I'm playing, I don't know what it's called in English, but it's this card game. If you have la dame de pique, never played card games in English. So this lady, with the spade, the lady of the spade, the queen of spade, and you have the queen of spade, and you shouldn't be stuck with the game, if you lose the game. But it's a luck of the draw if you get the queen of spade. It's not your fault if somebody else has the queen of spade. You're not responsible for it. No. And same thing with somebody else's mood. You're not responsible for somebody else's mood. They are born. Everybody is born with resilience. It's our default. That's how humanity survived all those years, right? Because there were plagues and there were wars, and people bounced back. After the plague, Europe bounced back. Cambodia, after Pol Pot, bounced back. Now France and Italy and Germany, after the war, bounced back. So we are resilient. That's our default. We just forget about that. And because it's innate, that's a good news. You don't have to look for it. You don't have to search for it or look for it in another person. It's innate. It's inside of us. And when we go back in the now, I know I'll say that in every video probably, but when we go back in the now, That's where we can get in touch with that inner resilience, inner calm, inner serenity, because that's what we are. There is no need to blame someone. Or no need to blame yourself either. No, that's not the thing. No, you might lash out. No, we all human. Now feel stress and lash out at another person. And then you can say, "Oh, sorry, I lashed out." But if both of you know where your emotion is coming from, the other person will know that they're not responsible of you lashing out. And you know that it was from a low mood that you lashed out, and the other person is not responsible for it. And there's many couples in the 3P community that survive because of that, because they know they're not responsible for the other person high or low moods, and the other person knows that they're not responsible for the other person high or low moods. And if one of the two is in a low mood, there's more understanding, and there's no blame game. And like anything else, everything everything is temporary. Everything is temporary. No, the stress, the anxiety is temporary. You cannot be in that state 24 hours a day. No, if you do, that's because you keep ruminating the same ideas over and over again. But again, it's your choice. It's not the partner's choice. Never was, never will be. So that's all I had to tell you today. And on that, well, I'll probably catch you next week. Ciao.